G'day chunky chili dudes and dudettes, and welcome back to another episode of Son of a Chunk. The chili hasn't fallen far from the tree. Welcome to season 2 again. We have a lot to do today, including what is going on right in front of me. As promised, we said we'd reveal what's going down, so now it's time to do that. Once the chili man himself says his magic words, which is,
I'm a chunky chili dude, I'm on with the heat.
on with the heat. Let's get through this intro and we'll see you right after this. Well, chunky chili dudes and dudettes, it is time to understand what is going on in front of me. There is two plants that I'm very, very excited about putting together for you guys, and they're going to be quite fundamental towards some of our sauces we're going to be doing. Obviously, you've seen we have our Trinidad Scorpion, our cheap $3 one that we can obviously revive and get back up into its fruit, which is something we can definitely do here. That's no problem at all. But there's two more plants that I thought, these are going to be really, really good for some of the sauces that we're going to make and some other things that we can do in total as well. But it stuck out to me that, if we want to do sauces ourselves, we want to need to make them from our own, our own volition, our own creativity, and also our own backyard. If we can successfully make the full sauce components from our own backyard, then we never have to rely on anything else but our own backyard and our own business, which would be great for sauce making. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to two of the new family members to the Son of a Chunk factory, and that is number one, a blueberry tree. We're going to be putting the blueberry tree just over here by the rocks where the camera just is for now. The blueberry tree is going to be part of half of our sauces, if not most of our sauces. We want flavor over heat as well. We want a good heat for most of our sauces, but the base is what we want is a good flavor. And blueberries are a great sauce for that. And they grow crazy amounts. So we're going to have plenty for us, plenty for Mrs. Son of a Chunk and little Miss Seed of a Chunk to enjoy their blueberries as well. So the blueberries are the first pot we're going to be working on today to get into the garden. And then secondly, and there's a reason why I've got the camera panned to such a weird angle, because this one here is grapes. We're going to be making a grapevine. So that way we've got something to talk about on that grapevine along this fence line here. So what we're going to be doing is taking down all these excess vines from all the other tree that we've got. Now that we know that this plant or this fence can successfully hold them, we're going to run the grapevine through that there by putting a stake into one of these pots here, then up into the tree, up into the fence line here, so it'll grow along here, and then we'll have grapes growing on either side of the fence line, which is going to be good. But what we're going to do is ensure that we can get a bit of watering over here as well. So there might be a third irrigation set we have to do, or it might just be the occasional hose and spray for now. But we're going to see how it goes, because obviously this is something we haven't done quite yet. So it's going to be a learning curve for these ones here. Blueberries, they're just like every other fruit. We know how to handle those ones and what nutrients and what supplies they need. If you've touched base with us with our first season, you would have seen that NPK fertilizer and power feed was some of the things we were working with, and they were giving us quite an advantage for those fruits to get the plants up and ready to go. So let's get stuck into that. Let's get these two into their homes. Let's cut behind me. So I'm going to grab the scissors that I've got just over here. We'll go through a quick montage of me cutting all the vines down, getting rid of them all, and getting our brand new grapevine onto the vine's base. Let's go. So we definitely need to be careful with that vine there, because that one's such an invasive pest. They've got these little things on there like seeds. They almost look like ginger, but they're not. They're little seeds, and what happens is when they drop on the ground, they just rip open and start turning to roots, and then that becomes another vine. You can see there how it's already started to grow off its shoot. Those things there will just take over the fence line. I'll show you where it's taken over the fence line on the other side. I don't mind it being on that side because it gives me a bit of privacy screen following the fence. and I'm happy to do that, but you've got to be very careful because this thing here will chew up all your fence line and suffocate anything that it's with. So just need to be careful when we have it on that we are just making sure you watch where it's growing and how it's going. But let's put the grapes back into their place and go from there. Now for this one, we're using the Yates Premium Potting Mix because it already has a dynamic lifter in it, which is a lifesaver. That's maximum nutrients for the pot plant itself and half the effort. You can already smell the dynamic lifter in it. All right. Let's see if I can get this right first go. There we go. Got a bed to rest on. Just making a mess as we go because that's what we do here. I'll have to hose this table off. That's fine. That's a big fertilizer cap. All right. So that's our grape done. And the way we're going to get this to actually gauge with the fence is we're going to stick it alongside the fence. And I'm just going to give it something to stretch out to. So I've pre-watered a bent stake. So then that way I can tuck it down the side to the fence line there. And I'll just tuck the first vine around it. So now what it'll do is it'll just grab and wrap itself all the way up and then go along the fence line. So that'll be fine to go. Next, the blueberries. I'll give them a power feed once I've got them into place. All right, blueberries away. When transporting plants, the easiest thing to do is just 2 fingers either side of the plant, gently squeeze the pot itself and bring it back. That way you're looking after the plant and you're making sure you don't have any potential transport shock just by looking after it. And then what we do is we just gently pack the soil either side first just to secure it into place. And then we can go ahead and just rotate the rest of the potting mix around. Just like so. We should have enough left for our little Trinidad scorpion. There we go. One very nice blueberry pot plant to go just down here. Wonderful. And I'll grab the last of those pot plants because I knew I hid one, and we'll just use the last of this in it. I'll need to get more, but that's okay. This one can spend a little bit of time growing and then we'll boost him up shortly. Wonderful. I'll just pour the rest of that into there. Beautiful. No pots, no soil, no plants wasted. All right, he's going to have a bit of time to go on that. We'll also increase his soil intake in that eventually. I'll put more soil in it to get it going. But I'll pop that one down over here with everybody else. I'll clean all this up, get rid of all this, give it a nice clean down, and we'll talk about dynamic lifter, power feed, and NPK fertilizer. Alrighty, welcome back. So, got the table nice and clean down for us, ready to go. Talk about the next stage in keeping the plants nice and healthy and getting as much fruit out of these as possible. And what we're talking about is your power feed. So here we've got the Sea Soul power feed in liquid, and we've also got the power feed in the granules as well. Granules are a slow release, which is really good. This gives the life to the plant over about 6 month period, and then you can change those granules every 6 months, and that's totally fine. I've already gone ahead and activated these around the outside of some of the plants we've already got here. I haven't activated them around the blueberries yet. I figured I'd show you how I do that, and then obviously around the grapes as well. And then we'll give them an actual power feed with the power feed fertilizer too. So we'll go through with that. So like I said, the power feed granules are a slow release granule. I'll bring the camera over and you can see what they look like, and we'll go from there. So as you can see, the slow release fertilizer is just a set of pellets, your nitrogen, your potassium, your now I'm having a brain fade. This one's going to test me. It's been a while since I've done this one. Nice nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. So those ones there, the NPK. Those ones there are the slow release, the food that the plants need to really thrive. As you've seen how well they do thrive. The liquid version also gives a chance for the top of the plant as well to soak that all in and get a little bit of life back in. Now to do that, all we do is we take a little bit of the granules and post them around the outside of the plant, and then we pour a little bit of this into this watering jug here, and then we apply that as well. So I'll quickly go ahead and do that and get that started. Now it is going to get quite messy, so keep that in mind, but power feeding only needs 1 cap per 9 litres. Now this is a 9 litre jerry can for water, and I put 2 in because I love to overfeed the plants, and they really like it too as well, especially with the heat here. So all I do is I just let that kind of swash around and mix through. Good news is the lid here is pretty well good to go. Sometimes you're going to find growth at the end of your watering can. That's a natural thing, don't even stress about that. And what we'll do now is we'll go and granulate the blueberries and the grapes behind us, and then we'll power feed them. When granulating your plants, be sure not to have the nitrogen touch the plant itself. So just try and keep the granules away from the plant. You don't want them to touch, because if they do, they'll probably end up burning the side of the plant. So just set it around the outside like so. And then we're going to introduce it with a bit more power feed. And set that in. Nice and soaked as well. And just go over the top of the plants as well too. Give everything a good soaking. There we go. That should be enough there. And that'll get a blueberry tree growing in no time. Same thing with our grapes. All we want to do is just make sure that we have enough granules on the grapes themselves. This is going to give that slow release fertilizer in. And then that's going to help making sure that we don't touch the tree itself. Otherwise the nitrogen can burn the chili. Burn the grapes. And then giving it a good dousing with the power feed. In a matter of days, these things are going to take off. We'll come back over the next few days and see how they're traveling. Alright, that should be plenty there. Sweet. I'm going to go give this to the rest of our plants. These ones have already been power fed today, so I'll just run the last bit over for a little bit. As you can see, they've come back quite a lot nicer than what they were like last season, where they were pretty pale. See, the leaves aren't drooping as much for these guys anymore, which is good. And that's the last of the power feed there. Wonderful. And that's done. All right, so as you can see, we now have our garden restored. Everything is looking fantastic. We have our blueberries applied, we have our grapes now applied. We have a lot of cool things coming along in the Son of a Chunk factory, which is exciting to say the least. The next thing I guess to do is start harvesting some of these excess chilies from last season and start making some more sauces. But I think the first thing is we need to get these Tabascos off, and in the next episode we're going to be doing a ferment for the Tabasco chilies. So I can't wait. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this episode, a bit more informative this time and what we're doing behind the scenes to make the cool sauces for you guys. By the way, before you go, check out some of the cool things that we're going to be doing for this place. We're going to be doing our new limited edition merchandise for Sweet Death, which is going to be cool. So if you want to be repping some of the hottest things in town, as well as the hottest sauces in Australia, I suggest you get yourself some of the Sweet Death sauce and chili, and also the merchandise available. Everything we do and every funding bit we get goes back in towards this garden to make the hot sauces for you guys. Also too, if you do shop with us through our Redbubble site or through the website itself, any money that you do spend goes towards credits off your next hot sauce when they become available. So we'll start taking pre-orders for Sweet Death hot sauce as soon as we can. But as soon as that becomes an option, we can't wait to share it with all of you. And once we do, we give back to you as well. So if you buy any of the merch, you'll get a discount off the sauce bottle, which is great fun because you're just winning non-stop. So with that being said, I think there's only one thing left to do, and that is to sign off. So thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you very, very shortly in the next episode. So long, take care, see you next time.